Everyone is shouting. Someone just scored. The whole room explodes. People jump out of their seats. A few strangers hug like they have known each other for years. Someone slams the table. Someone yells at the screen. Someone looks like this moment has changed their entire life. And you are sitting there, trying to feel what everyone else is feeling. But nothing happens. You understand the game. You understand why that moment matters to them. You understand that this is supposed to be exciting, but inside it feels strangely distant. Not painful, not annoying, just empty. And that can make you feel a little wrong, because you are not a cold person. You feel things deeply. You may cry at a movie nobody else cares about. You may remember one sentence someone said years ago. You may lose sleep over someone you love. You may feel music, silence, memories, and small details more intensely than most people realize. So, why does sports leave you feeling almost nothing? Why does a stadium full of emotion feel like a language you understand but cannot speak? Maybe you have asked yourself that before. Maybe you thought you were boring, too serious, too different, hard to connect with. But what if that is not the truth? What if disliking sports does not mean you lack passion? What if it means your mind does not give its attention away easily? What if your brain is not broken? It is simply waiting for something that feels real enough to care about. Part 2. People treat it like a personality flaw. The hardest part is not disliking sports. The hardest part is explaining it. Because people don't always hear it as a preference. They hear it like a problem. You say, "I'm not really into sports." And suddenly the room changes. Someone laughs. Someone looks confused. Someone says, "Really? Not even football?" Or, "You just haven't watched the right match." And after a while, you start feeling like you need a better answer. Like simply saying, "It doesn't interest me," is not enough. That is where the pressure begins. Because sports are not just games for many people. They are conversation starters, weekend plans, family memories, friendship rituals, a way to belong without trying too hard. So when you don't connect with it, people may quietly place a label on you. Cold, boring, too serious, hard to connect with, maybe even arrogant. But most of the time, that is not true. You are not trying to reject people. You are not looking down on what they love. You are just being honest about what does not move you. And honestly, that can feel lonely. Because it is strange to be surrounded by excitement and still feel like you have to pretend just to seem normal. Part 3. Not caring about sports doesn't mean you lack passion. But let's be clear about something. Not caring about sports does not mean you lack passion. It does not mean you are empty. It does not mean you are boring. And it definitely does not mean you don't know how to feel. Maybe your emotions just don't wake up for the same things other people respond to. That is a very different thing. Some people feel alive when their team wins. Some people feel alive when a song says exactly what they never knew how to say. Some people feel alive when they finally understand a difficult idea. Some people feel alive when they build something with their own hands. Some people feel alive during a quiet walk, a deep conversation, a private goal, or a moment where life suddenly makes sense. Passion has many forms, but society often acts like passion should look loud. It should look like cheering, shouting, jumping, celebrating in a crowd. So if your passion is quieter, people may not recognize it. They may think you don't care about anything, but maybe you care deeply. You just don't care automatically, personally. I think that is an important difference. Some people give their attention quickly because the group is excited. Others need meaning first. They need a reason. They need a personal connection. They need to feel that the emotion belongs to something real inside them. So if sports never pulled you in, maybe your brain is not refusing joy. Maybe it is refusing borrowed emotion. Maybe it is saying, I don't want to pretend this matters to me just because it matters to everyone else. And honestly, there is nothing wrong with that. Sometimes not caring is not a lack of feeling. Sometimes it is your mind being honest about where your energy truly belongs. Part 4. Maybe the real question is not why you don't care. Maybe the real question is not, why don't you care about sports? Maybe the better question is, why do so many people care so much? Think about it for a moment. Every week, millions of people give their full emotion to something they cannot control. They shout at the screen. They argue about players they have never met. They feel proud when a team wins. They feel angry when a team loses. Sometimes their whole mood changes because of a score. And somehow everyone treats that as normal. But if you step back, it is actually fascinating. A game can become more than a game. It becomes identity. It becomes belonging. It becomes a reason to gather, a reason to talk, a reason to feel something together. That is why sports are so powerful for many people. They are not just watching movement on a field. They are entering a shared emotional world. For 90 minutes, they get to forget their own problems and attach their feelings to something bigger than themselves. But maybe your brain does not work that way. Maybe you cannot force yourself to care just because a crowd cares. Maybe your emotions need a personal reason, a real connection, a deeper meaning. So instead of asking why you are different, maybe ask this: what need does sports satisfy for other people that it does not satisfy for me? That question changes everything. Because now, this is no longer about being strange. It is about understanding how different minds search for meaning. Part 5. Sports give people a tribe. Sports are not powerful only because of the game. They are powerful because they give people a tribe. Think about it. A team has colours, a logo, a history, a song, a rival, a shared enemy, a shared memory. People wear the same shirt and suddenly feel connected to strangers they have never met before. That may sound strange from the outside, but psychologically it makes sense. Human beings were never built to survive alone. For most of human history, your group was your safety. If your group accepted you, you had protection. If your group rejected you, life became dangerous. That old wiring did not disappear. It just found modern places to attach. For many people, sports become one of those places. A safe tribe. A place to belong. A place where they can say, "We won," even if they never touched the field. And personally, I don't think that is stupid. I think it is deeply human. People are not only watching a game, they are looking for connection. They are looking for a shared feeling. They are looking for a moment where they can forget their private worries and become part of something bigger. But here is where you may feel different. Maybe your brain does not join a group that easily. Maybe you can understand the tribe without feeling absorbed by it. Maybe you can watch everyone celebrate and still think, but this is not really mine. If you have ever felt like you were standing outside the emotion of the room, comment 5 below. Not because you hate people, but because your mind may need more than group energy to feel connected. And once you understand that, disliking sports starts to look less like rejection. And more like a different way of searching for belonging. Part 6. Your brain may be looking for a different kind of meaning. Maybe you don't dislike sports because you are empty. Maybe you dislike it because your mind is searching for a different kind of meaning. Some people feel excited by competition. They enjoy the tension, the score, the rivalry, the feeling that anything can happen. But maybe your brain does not respond strongly to that. Maybe you feel more alive when you understand something deeply, when you create something, when you solve a problem, when you have a conversation that makes you think for days, when you see a pattern most people missed. Personally, I think this is where many reflective people feel misunderstood. They are not against fun. They are not against excitement. They simply don't want excitement that feels borrowed. Watching someone else win does not always feel like your win. Watching someone else lose does not always feel like your loss. For some minds, emotion needs ownership. It needs a personal connection. It needs to come from something they lived, built, chose, or cared about directly. So when sports do not move you, maybe your brain is not saying, "I don't care about life." Maybe it is saying, "I need something closer to my own soul before I can truly care." Part 7. There may be deeper reasons underneath. There may be deeper reasons why sports do not pull you in. The first layer is your nervous system. For some people, a loud room feels exciting. The shouting, the tension, the sudden reactions, the emotional highs and lows. All of that gives them energy. But for you, it may do the opposite. It may drain you, not because you are weak, but because your system notices too much at once. The second layer is reward. Some people enjoy watching a team win because the victory feels shared. Their brain treats it like a personal high. But maybe your brain does not reward you for things you did not directly do. Maybe you feel more satisfaction from effort, from learning, from improving, from creating something that actually came from you. The third layer is identity. Some people feel proud because their team won. They say, "We won," even though they were watching from the couch. And again, that is human. People want to belong. But maybe your identity is not built that way. Maybe you do not attach yourself easily to groups, symbols, or outside victories. Personally, I think this is why some people feel distant from sports culture. They are not trying to be different. They just need something more personal before they feel emotionally invested. And then there is the final layer, values. Maybe you look at the money, attention, and obsession around sports and quietly wonder, why does this matter so much when so many other things matter too? That question does not make you negative. It may simply mean your mind is paying attention to a different kind of scoreboard. Part 8. But be careful. Not caring can become an excuse. But there is one thing we need to be honest about. Not caring about sports can mean your mind is looking for deeper meaning. But sometimes it can also become an excuse. I say this carefully because it is easy to dislike something popular and start feeling secretly superior. You may think, "I care about deeper things. I'm not like everyone else. I don't waste my energy on pointless things." And maybe part of that is true. But here is the danger. Being different does not automatically mean you are growing. Not liking what others like does not automatically make you wiser. The real question is not, do I dislike sports? The real question is, what am I truly invested in? Personally, I think this question matters a lot. Because if sports do not move you, but your work moves you, your art moves you, your family moves you, your healing moves you, your goals move you, then your attention is simply going somewhere else. That makes sense. But if nothing moves you deeply, if you keep standing outside every room, if you always observe but never commit, then maybe the issue is not rare intelligence. Maybe it is emotional distance. Maybe it is fear of being disappointed. Maybe it is a habit of staying safe by never caring too much. And that is worth looking at. Because a meaningful life still requires investment. Maybe not in sports. Maybe not in what the crowd loves. But in something real enough to ask for your heart. Part 9. You are allowed to find meaning somewhere else. So, if sports never really pulled you in, don't rush to label yourself as cold. Maybe you are not missing the emotion. Maybe your attention is simply more careful. You don't have to love what everyone else loves just to prove that you can belong. Some people find meaning in the stadium. Some people find it in quiet work. Some find it in books, music, building a business, helping their family, understanding people, or creating something that did not exist before. None of those paths is automatically better. They are just different. The important thing is honesty. Don't pretend to care about sports just to look normal. But also don't mock people who love it just because it doesn't reach you. Everyone is trying to feel connected in their own way. Maybe their way is through a team. Maybe your way is through ideas, growth, peace, or something more personal. And that's okay. Rare intelligence is not about rejecting the crowd. It is about knowing when the crowd's excitement is not your truth. So, the next time everyone is cheering and you feel nothing, you don't have to force a reaction. You can simply understand yourself. Maybe your mind is not empty. Maybe it is just waiting for something real enough to earn your full attention. Number, final thoughts. Maybe your mind is just waiting for something real. So, if sports never truly pulled you in, don't be too quick to judge yourself. Maybe you are not cold. Maybe you are not boring. Maybe you are not missing some basic human emotion. Maybe your attention is simply more careful than most people realize. You don't have to love what everyone else loves just to prove that you belong. Some people find meaning in a stadium. Some people find it in quiet work. Some find it in books, music, building something, helping their family, understanding people, or creating a life that feels honest to them. None of these paths is automatically better. They are just different. The real question is not whether you love sports. The real question is whether you are deeply invested in something that actually matters to you. Because rare intelligence is not about rejecting the crowd. It is about knowing when the crowd's excitement is not your truth. So the next time everyone is cheering and you feel nothing, you don't have to fake a reaction. You can simply understand yourself. Maybe your mind is not empty. Maybe it is just waiting for something real enough to earn your full attention. If this video felt personal, comment 7 below. Maybe you've also felt strange for not caring about something everyone else seems to love. And maybe your comment will help someone else realize they are not the only one. But before you go, there is another quiet habit many reflective people understand very well. Lying in bed at night, creating fake conversations, imagining situations that never happened, replaying what you should have said, building entire scenes in your mind before sleep. Is that overthinking? Loneliness? Emotional rehearsal? Or is your brain trying to process feelings you never had space to express during the day? In the next video, we'll explore people who imagine fake scenarios before sleep, and why the stories you create in the dark may reveal more about your inner world than you think.